Feanor woke up early. As an elf, he didn't need much sleep. Deciding to go out scouting so he could get the lay of the land, he pulled his now muddy boots on. Silently, he prowled the swamps of Feywild. Ever above was the light side of the Feywild, sparkling in golden splendor. It never moved like the moons in his home of Numenera, which would rise and fall in times and seasons. Hikari woke up to the smell of meat roasting. Sleeping was something she had never done before, and eating was something she didn't remember. But now her stomach gurgled with anticipation. Twila had taken some meat and was cooking it over the fire with thoughtlessness. She hadn't slept from what Hikari knew, but that didn't seem to bother the blind woman. Feanor returned after a few minutes, and the three shared a simple meal. Hikari, having never eaten before, found the meat quite delicious. Feanor, having a more experienced palate, cringed slightly at the sickly sweet flesh. Leaving the tree, Twila guided Hikari and Feanor for a couple of hours to the border of Auntie Isra's territory. As they entered, the two began to notice a creature watching them from patches of mangrove trees. It was about 9 feet tall and roughly humanoid shaped, but it was hunched over with elongated forearms and wolf-like legs. Occasionally it would disappear and reappear in a new patch of trees. Confronting the creature, they learned that it was a warped dryad named Fall that was in the service of Auntie Isra. After some small talk, Hikari asked Fall to take them to Isra's lair, and Fall agreed. Eventually she showed them to a hollowed-out wooden stump and watched them as they descended down into Isra's domain. The room they fell into was made of dirt, with 2 wooden slabs flanking their entrance. Feanor examined one and found some cryptic words. "So you've been to college, and you think you have some knowledge. It depends on the school, or it might turn out cruel." The other stump had an odd collection of items. Among them, Hikari found a simple bulbed hourglass held up by a wooden stand. Every minute it would tick as it turned over, and each bulb was a creature. One looked like a pixie and the other some kind of mermaid. Water flowed between the bulbs, drowning the pixie and suffocating the mermaid, and then revitalizing them both. The creatures were stuck in an eternal cycle of suffering. Hikari picked up the hourglass and made sure it wouldn't flip over, trying to spare the creatures inside. Continuing, they found 5 pedestals, each inscribed with runes. Nearby, under candlelight, they found a collection of objects. Isra was crafty, and part of her game involved watching her potential prey try to perform mental tasks in an attempt to determine their intellect. Magically, she watched them deduce that each pedestal needed an object corresponding to a school of magic, and that once each had an object, a door would be opened. But during the process, each of them placed a cursed object onto a pedestal. Feanor placed a crooked dagger onto one of the pedestals and felt a flash of pain across his back that faded quickly. Hikari put a small wooden drawing dummy onto one of the pedestals. When they weren't watching, the dummy had changed to have golden hair and a dress similar to Hikari's. They soon learned that the dummy only moved when they weren't looking at it, and soon it began to mock them by pretending to die. Finally, Feanor found an object they hadn't considered, the candle which was lighting the room. It represented the school of evocation, and with this the door opened and the two found themselves face to face with Auntie Isra. Isra was waiting for them in a room with a wide well dominating its center. 3 stones were arranged for them to sit. The hag was hunched over with a long, sagging neck and a face that resembled that of a catfish. Draped over her back were tattered blankets, and her voice was raspy. Finishing feeding the fish in the well, Isra offered a bargain to Feanor. She would give him an object needed to open a portal to take him home to Numenera. In exchange, he would take a bottle filled with dirt with him and bury it in one of the forest mountains. Feanor reluctantly accepted, and was given an obsidian 8-sided hedron. Hikari wanted to free the 2 creatures in the hourglass. Thinking hard, Isra decided to make it very costly. She asked for Hikari's hair. Worried that her followers wouldn't recognize her without her golden hair, Hikari tried to promise the hag a gift after she had reascended to godhood. Unfortunately, the hag refused, insisting Hikari gave up her hair. Frustrated, Hikari rose and released her inner glory. Gold, draconic wings burst from her back and her sapphire eyes blazed. With a booming voice, she commanded the hag to accept her offer of a gift. Auntie Isra suddenly feared for her life, cowering under the presence of Hikari. But Isra had made her career swindling powerful fae, so she was prepared. Tapping her staff on the ground, a void of dark encompassed the room. Hikari heard a splash as she charged forward into the darkness, blasting the air with pulses of light, but she couldn't find the hag. Feanor jumped for the well, transforming into a gigantic octopus. He saw Isra swimming away. Rushing after the hag, Feanor followed the well down to an underwater cavern with multiple exits. But Isra was nowhere to be seen. Quickly, Hikari and Feanor looted the hag's lair, gaining multiple odd objects. And then as swiftly as they came, they left her territory. Meeting up with Twila, they told her they had found a way to leave the Feywild. Remembering something, Hikari checked her pockets. She had stuffed the mocking dummy in there to stop it from startling her. Pulling it out, she found that it was lifeless, having pulled its own head off.